Good morning, children. Welcome back to the lesson Should Wizard Hit Mummy? Written by John Updike. The other day, we discussed the lesson in detail, especially the introduction and the main characters. So, this is in continuation with the first session. So, let us recall or make a recapitulation of what we have already discussed. The story I told you is apparently a very simple one, but its simplicity is deceptive. In fact, the story presents a conflict between a child's view of the world and the adult's view, means aged people's view. Okay. Outwardly, we will see that story is very simple. So, who are the main characters? Jo, the little child; Jack, her father; Claire, her mother; and Bobby, her brother, small brother. So, they are four. And we have other characters, story within the story. That is, the father used to tell stories to Jo in order to make her asleep. So the traditional story, it's like a ritual of storytelling, and the name of the character will remain same. Like for example, Roger, it can be Roger Fish, it can be Roger Squirrel, etc. So that particular day, Jo preferred the character as that of a skunk, and we discussed what a skunk is. A skunk is a North American animal. It has a very unpleasant smell. Okay, and actually it is a defense for that animal. When other animals are attacking it, it can just escape with this smell. Means they cannot go near to that animal. So here again the problem, and all these creatures will have some problem, and the problem will be referred to the owl, the wise old owl, and the owl would send the character to the wizard, a very aged person, wizard, unmarried person, and he kept the things in a disorder at home. Okay. We have already discussed about it, right? And finally wizard would settle the issue. So here skunk, what is its problem? It has the problem that other animals are not accepting him because of his bad smell. So all the time the skunk would be sent out from the group. So Jo demanded her father to take skunk to that owl, but owl was also felt it difficult to settle the issue. So the owl sent the matter to the wizard, and wizard also asked him to keep a distance because he was smelling very bad. Okay, and finally the wizard uttered a magic spell, that is abracadabra, hocus poc, Roger Skunk, how do you do? Roses versus pull an ear, Roger Skunk, you never fear bingo, right? This is what happened, and suddenly the smell changed to that of roses, and the animal was very happy and went back to his home. There we stopped yesterday, right? Dear children, we will continue now with the remaining part of the story. We are at page number 52 in the middle of the page. Yeah, let us continue. So the wizard said, "Oh, very well, go to the end of the lane and turn around 3 times and look down the magic well, and there you will find 3 pennies." So it was already told to all of you that the animal would be running short of some money to pay the wizard. So the wizard himself would direct all the animals to go to a special well, that is called the magic well here. What is that? Yeah, went to the magic well. There is a well In Hindi we say bavi. Okay, and kuva. Okay, kuve, and in Kannada we call bavi. And there you will find 3 pennies. Hurry, hurry up. So Roger Skunk went to the end of the lane and turned around 3 times, and there in the magic well were 3 pennies. So he took them back to the wizard and was very happy and ran out into the woods, that means forest, and all the other little animals gathered around him because he smelled so good, and they played tag, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, hockey, soccer, and pick up sticks. So there will be a question, what are the games they played after the skunk got that smell? Which smell? Rosy smell, because he was accepted afterwards. Other animals accepted him, and they started playing all these games like tag, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, hockey, soccer, and pick up sticks. And the girl does not know what pick up sticks. It is a game you play with sticks. Okay, that is a game. Like the wizard's magic wand, the girl is asking, she is asking questions, logical questions. Like the wizard's wand, a kind of. And they played games and laughed all afternoon. And then it began to get dark, and they all ran home to their mummies. And all these animals went back to their mummies by the evening. Jo was starting to fuss with her hands and look out of the window at the crack of day that showed under the shade. She thought that the story was over. Jack didn't like women when they took anything for granted. He liked them apprehensive, hanging on his words. Now, Jo, are you listening? So actually, in between, the Jo was confusing, or to making herself in a confused state by starting to fuss with her hands and look out of the window. And it was evening. She thought the story was all over, but Jack didn't like women when they took anything for granted. What do you mean by taking anything for granted? Means take as it is. So people generally say don't take it for granted. Opposite way, don't accept as it is. Okay, he liked them apprehensive. Little lady should be fearful, apprehensive, hanging on his words. Now, Jo, are you listening? Jack is asking, hey, are you listening the story? Yes, because this is very interesting. Roger Skunk's mummy said, what is that awful smell? So on reaching home, the mummy of Roger Skunk asked, what is that awful smell? What? And Roger Skunk said, it is me, mummy. I smell like roses. And she said, who made you smell like that? And he said, the wizard. And she said, well, of all the nerve, you come with me, and we are going right back to that very awful wizard. Actually, mummy was not pleased with the change of smell. So the mummy of Roger Skunk immediately asked that they should go to the wizard at once. Why? Because she wanted to change the smell back to the normal smell of a skunk. Jo sat up, but Jo did not like that. Our daughter did not like that. Her hands dabbling in the air with the genuine fright. But Daddy, then he said, about the other little animals run away. Her hands skittered off into the underbush. Okay, so what did I say? That girl stood up on the bed, means sat up on the bed. Her hands dabbling. Dabbling means working. Dear children, you can write down. Dabbling means working. Dabbling in the air with the genuine fright. Fright means fear. Fright, fear. But Daddy, then he said about the other little animals run away. What happened to the other animals then? Her hands skittered off, flew away. Write down. Flew away into the underbush. All right, he said, but mummy, all the other little animals run away, and she said, I don't care, you smelled the way a little skunk should have, and I am going to take you right back to that wizard. And she took an umbrella and went back with the Roger skunk and hit that wizard right over the head. So finally what happened, that skunk's mother took skunk to that wizard, and on reaching there, what did she do? And she took an umbrella and went back with the Roger skunk and hit that wizard right over the head. And as a punishment to him, she hit that wizard on the head. Okay, that you can underline, because that is why the title you can see. What is this title? Should wizard hit mummy? Here what happened? Mummy hit the wizard. So question is, should wizard hit mummy? That is what the question. That is what the logical question she asked. Actually, Joe did not like the way skunk's mother did. Actually, according to her, that skunk's mother should be hit by the wizard. Let us see. No, Joe said, and put no. That means she did not like that ending of the story, and put her hand out to touch his lips. Yet even in her agitation, okay, agitation here first, anger did not quite dare to stop the source of truth. Inspiration came to her. Then the wizard hit her on the head and did not change that little skunk back. According to her, what should happen? The wizard should hit her mother on the head and should not have changed the smell of that skunk. No, he said, no. Then father said, no, that cannot be possible. No, he said. The wizard said, okay. And Roger skunk did not smell of roses anymore. He smelled very bad again. So according to father's ending of the story, that skunk smelled bad again. But what way the story should end from the side of Joe? That the wizard should hit her and the smell should not be taken back. But according to father's ending of the story, or conclusion of the story, that mother hitting the wizard and wizard removing the smell of that skunk. But the other little Johnny, it is daddy's story. Shall daddy not tell you any more stories? Then what will happen to other animal? Her broad face looked at him through sifted light, astounded, okay, surprised. This is what happened. Then Roger skunk and his mummy went home and they heard woo, woo, and it was the choo, choo train bringing daddy skunk home from Boston. Actually, the story is over. Who said? Jack said. That means that it is not possible to change the smell back again to roses. Okay. So who was not happy? Joe was not happy. But finally father said, by the time the skunk and the mummy went back, who came by the train? Its father came with the sound, choo choo train came, bringing daddy skunk home from Boston, and they had lima beans. And what did they have when the father came home? Lima beans, celery liver, smashed potatoes, and pie oh my for dessert. Dessert is sweet item. These are the things that they had added. Maybe again Jack wanted to tell something about his own personal life situation. And when Roger skunk was in bed, mummy skunk came up and hugged him, embraced him, and said he smelled like her little baby skunk again, and she loved him very much. And that is the end of the story. Actually, mother was happy now. The mother is happy now because the small skunk got the ordinary, that means smell of a skunk again, and that way the mother is happy here. But daddy, what? But girl is not happy. She's calling her father. But daddy, then father is asking what? Then did the other little animal run away? That is what she's worried about. What about the other animals? No, because eventually means finally, at last, they got used to the way he was and did not mind it at all. So the father is telling that gradually what happened, other animals used to with that smell and they started playing with him. Eventually means finally. But the girl did not understand the word eventually, so she is asking, what is eventuality? Because the small girl happened to hear eventually as eventuality. In a little while, that was a stupid mummy. Oh, she is not happy with that mummy. A stupid mummy. It was not. Father is arguing. No, no, that mummy was not stupid. Mummy was in her right path. Actually, that is what I told you. The story is about two perspectives, two viewpoints. One is from the child's view and the other from the adult's view. So the father is arguing and ensuring that the mummy did the correct thing, but according to the girl, the mummy did not do the correct thing. Okay, it was not, he said with rare emphasis, and believed from her expression that she realized he was defending his own mother to her or something as odd. Now I want you to put your big heavy head in the pillow and have a good long nap. Father said, okay, now you have to sleep. He adjusted the shade so not even a crack of day showed and tiptoed to the door in the pretense that she was already asleep. And finally, father felt that the little girl happened to sleep, and he tiptoed. Tiptoed means walked without making a noise. Tiptoeing, walking on your tip, okay, tip of the toe. That means without a noise, he was just vacating the room. Suddenly, what happened? But when he turned, she was crouching. What is crouching? Bending. What was she doing? Crouching. Okay. Crunching on top of the covers and staring at him, looking at him. That means she was not asleep. Hey, get under the covers and fall fast asleep. Bobby is asleep. Bobby means her brother is already slept or asleep. So you too sleep quickly. Who said? Father said. Fine. She stood up and bounced gingerly on the springs. Daddy. Again she sat up, and daddy, she is calling. What? Tomorrow I want you to tell me the story that wizard took that magic wand and hit that mummy. Okay, this is what she wanted. Earlier also she expressed it, but she is not happy with the ending of the story, so she is ensuring from her father whether he should continue the story and that wizard should hit that mummy. Okay, her plump arms chopped forcefully right over the head. Okay, right over the head it should be given. Okay, no, that is not the story. The point is that the little skunk loved his mummy more than he loved all other little animals, and she knew what was right. And according to father, that mummy knew what was right and what was wrong. No, tomorrow you say he hit that mummy, but the girl is insisting that father should tell the story in such a way that wizard should hit the mummy. Do it. She kicked her legs up and sat down on the bed with a great heave and complained of springs as she had done hundreds of times before, except that this time she did not laugh. Say it, daddy. So all the other time she would laugh, but this time the girl is not laughing. She is giving a final command to her father. Say it, daddy. That means she is growing up, and she started asking question to her father. Means reasoning started in the mind of the young girl. Okay, well, see how now at least have a rest. stay on the bed. You are a good girl. Now father is telling her that she was a good girl, or she had been a good girl. Here he closed the door and went downstairs, and finally father left her and went downstairs. Why? He has to perform certain duty. Okay, Claire means wife of Jack, had spread the newspaper and opened the paint can, and wearing an old shirt of his on top of her maternity smock. Maternity dress, a loose shirt like garment. Okay, write down. Smock means loose shirt like garment, dress. And what was his wife doing? She had already spread some newspaper and opened the paint can and was about to paint the furniture, and she was wearing an old shirt of the her husband. Okay, was stroking the chair rail with a dipped brush. She was just stroking, passing the hand gently. That is called stroking. Passing the hand on that chair with a brush. Above him, footsteps vibrated, and he called. And father could listen to the noise created by that girl from the upstairs. Johnny, shall I come up there and spank you? What is spank? To strike with open hand. So many children might have received spanking from the parents. What is spanking? Striking with the open hand, not using a stick, with the hand, beating somebody with the hand. Spanking you, shall I come and spank you? The footsteps hesitated. Now the footstep is not there. That was a long story, Claire said. Okay, now Claire is telling that was a long story. The poor kid, he answered. He said, the poor kid, not sleeping, and with utter weariness. What is weariness? Tiredness. Watched his wife labor. Actually, both are tired. Wife is tired in the sense she was painting the furniture. Father is tired telling the story to the girl, but girl is not sleeping now. The woodwork, a cage of moldings and rails and baseboards all around them. These are the pieces of pieces of furniture. Was half old tan and half new ivory, and he felt caught in an ugly middle position. Actually, that furniture, some are done, some are not done, and he felt he was in an ugly middle position. And though he as well felt his wife's presence in the cage with him, he did not want to speak with her, work with her, touch her, anything. So he is totally confused what to do. So he felt he should not work, he should not touch her, and leaving her with her own work. So dear children, that is the end of the story. I hope you could understand what the story is about. It is not something simply a storytelling from a father to the daughter. We have got to know two perspective of that is, one is adult perspective and that of a child's perspective. It is two different things. Children always will think about fun and pleasure, immediate pleasure, and they would be supporting other children of her age or other animal of her age, means young animals, for example. So whereas the elders are worried about the safety and security, and they will have their own reasoning and safety measures. Okay children, so before we conclude, let us make an immediate recap or review of what we have discussed for the day. Today we were continuing with the story of that skunk, and finally skunk's when the skunk reached home, his mother was not pleased, because that smell according to her is not safe. Why? Because a skunk should have the traditional smell only. That bad smell is a defensive system for that particular animal, right? So immediately the mother took him to the wizard, and she hid the wizard and asked him to change the smell. And finally, after changing the smell, they went to their own home. By then the skunk's father came from the by the train and from the Boston, and started eating the eatables. Okay, that was the end of the story. But who was not pleased with the ending? Joe was not pleased with the ending. Actually, she wanted that Wizard should hit the mummy. Okay, but according to Jack, her father, that mummy was right. But according to that Joe, the mummy was stupid. So there was a bit of argument between the daughter and the father. But finally, father wanted to impose that idea that parents are worried about the safety of their children. Okay, so with that advice, he left the place. I mean, left from the upstairs and came downstairs, where Claire means his wife was painting the furniture, and he felt he was in an ugly middle position. That is very important. What way he is in an ugly middle position? I think that all that furnitures are under painting, and half old tan, that is a color, and half new ivory, that is another color. Okay, so everything mixed up, and he felt he should not do any work. Or we can in another way we can say, here father is totally confused. He was unable to make Joe asleep, and at the same time he was unable to help his wife. Okay, so dear children, that is the end of the story. Have a nice day ahead. Bye.